Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Khalil Doheny, and I'm the Director of Content Marketing at Digital Niche Agency. Today, we have Barry from Bardleia. Barry, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. The audience is trickling in. Barry, do you want to just kind of give a quick background of yourself and really what we can expect from the webinar today?
Yeah, great question. Thank you all. I see this number rapidly rising. So I appreciate you taking the time today to hear about me and hear about Bardleia and hear about the team that we've assembled and the opportunity that we have before you. Um, my name is Barry. I'm from Pensacola, Florida. I moved to New York about 5 years ago, right in time for COVID, December 2019. And I've been in the industry now for 3.5 years. Excited to tell you more. Are you okay with me just rolling into it, or shall we?
Let's go straight into it. It seems like we're already getting a crowd here.
Okay, great. Listen, I'm thrilled that you joined us today. I have a prepared list of remarks. I might go off the cuff a little bit, depending on where the questions go. But I'd love to tell you a little bit more about me, and then I'm going to really talk about three things. I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the shift as far as like wellness and folks' journey with alcohol and how that's changed in the last couple of years. I'll give a quick background on the industry and products, and then I'm going to lean into telling you more about Bardleia and how we differentiate ourselves and how we plan on competing. Um, so I've always thought of myself as a connector. Healthcare was always very important to me, so I'm academically trained in healthcare. I went to UAB in Birmingham, Alabama, which is now the number one ranked program in the nation, actually. Being mindful about what it is that I eat and drink has always been important to me. I know it's probably important for all of you in the crowd. I'm sure that something that we said on the Republic page or an ad that you saw has resonated in some way with you. Um, I think that as I looked at my relationship with alcohol, several things were important. My father changed his journey with alcohol when my sister and I were little kids. And when I decided to get into this industry, my little sister actually was pregnant. I was also doing dry January, as I had done for the past 5 or 6 years, and really had started to see how people around me had begun to make more mindful choices. And that shift for me really happened in 2020. You know, as I was getting ready for the the call today, I was reminded of just how everyone's world changed in 2020 during COVID. I was here in New York and I was working for a team in the financial district. And when lockdown happened, we started to have Zoom calls just like the one we're having today. And they included more often than not a cocktail hour or happy hour. And so if you're like me, once you were homebound and nothing to do, maybe your alcohol consumption level went up just like mine did. And then as we all did, as you know, stats bear out, we decided, okay, this isn't the healthiest thing to do anymore. And so what we saw was a precipitous spike in alcohol consumption in early 2020, followed by a weaning off of that. And so in early 2021, I jumped in, having learned about a similar concept, and a concept where it was a non-alcoholic bottle shop. And I went in with a friend in January and saw a lot of the products that we're now selling on bardleia.com. Took some home, began to experiment. Again, I was doing dry January, sent some to my sister who was pregnant, and just started to bit by bit incorporate those products into my life. I was fortunate to build and grow a company where I can say that I'm the only person on the planet who has built out not one but 10 of these locations. and learned some great lessons, learned what not to do, learned what to do, made some connections in the community, and really, I think, put us on a solid foundation for what we've begun to build. So let's talk a little bit about just the shift in wellness. Obviously, COVID was a big accelerator of that. But what we're seeing now in the last few months and years is really a return to community, a return to having actual human connection in places that don't necessarily involve alcohol. We're seeing a return to specialty stores. A fun fact that I learned a few weeks back was Barnes and Noble, who we've all thought of in the last several years of shuttering their locations, has actually now started opening more locations up. And so when you're asking people, what experiences do you want, time and time again, we're finding experiences that people want to do where they can make genuine connections with people. I think the shift has happened with alcohol as well. Polling backs this up. If you ask a group of people the question, have you had alcohol in the last 30 days? Baby boomers will answer that question at about 75% yes. And then as you go on down the line all the way to Gen Z, you basically see a generational shift away from alcohol. Let's pretend that you don't believe me here. You can just simply ask this question to yourself that in the last year, have you looked to drink more, less, or about the same amount of alcohol? And chances are you're probably leaning towards saying, yeah, you know what, I've tried to cut back just a little bit. And so it's not about, for us, noticing a shift of people that want to completely walk away from that, but almost half of Americans are looking to reduce but not eliminate their alcohol intake. And I think that stat alone is very, very important to what it is that we're building, because from time to time I'll talk about what we're talking about today. I'm obviously being a little sarcastic. I talk about it all day. But people make quick assumptions of, oh, you must be selling to only pregnant women or only people who are sober or in recovery. And that while those are people that are certainly our core customers, what we find to be our more core customer is actually people who still drink, who are just looking to drink a little bit less. I didn't intend to bring a prop with me today, but I saw someone from the Boston Beer Company was going to be on the call today. So, this is a Sam Adams that oftentimes I sip on in the afternoon, non-alcoholic, of course. But it's people that are looking to make small changes in their daily routines. Let's talk about the industry for a little bit. So that's a little bit about I think the shift. When I was growing up and surveying the landscape in the last 10 years, when you think of non-alcoholic drinks, usually O'Doul's come to mind. And you have a certain image of who might drink an O'Doul's and who might not. In 2016, Seedlip came along. For those of you on the call who fly a lot, you've likely seen it in Delta Sky Club. You've likely seen it in your neighborhood bar. You see it everywhere, and that's because Diageo bought a quite a large stake in Seedlip a few years back. Lyre's came along in 2019 and really, I think, changed the game in that they started to produce a non-alcoholic version of just about every spirit that you can think of. And we're now to the point where the barrier to entry on the product side is not great. And so we're seeing what I consider almost like a Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak moment, where you're having products literally conceived and brought to market out of folks' garage and with very little money. And what you've also seen is just like a rapid improvement in the quality of these products. I frequently tell people that Right now, I think the best one-to-one comparison is probably like a white wine or a rosé wine. Beers are certainly pretty spot on. Red wines are a little, sometimes can be the weakest link, but we've seen companies really in the last 2 years put a ton of R&D into making sure these uh, products are actually tasting so much like the real thing. I'll give you a quick example. There's a non-alcoholic wine company on the West Coast who has employed a nanochemist in order to reverse engineer the taste of alcohol. And so as the bigger players get into the space on the product side, we're going to see a vast improvement in products. I'll pause there and remind you that a lot of the products that we sell are de-alkalized wine, meaning they're made just like actual wine, yet they go through one more step in order to take the alcohol out of it without necessarily sacrificing the flavor. So I think right now the industry is begging for not only accessibility, but also education and discovery and sampling opportunities, and all of that built into bringing and building a community. And so with that in mind, last year we started Bardleia. So my partner Alexa and I felt very strongly that the time was right to enter back into the space and build a better foundation and build a team that could compete and could be a good steward of the moment. And so Bardleia, we named purposefully. We wanted a call back to the drinking culture. So we have bar. We wanted a feminine ending, knowing that most of the customers are women. And we wanted something that would really stand out. So Alexa has a background working on Google Ads. SEO was important to us, still is. And so we taglined Bardleia, are soon to own the trademark, and started transacting business earlier this year. We did so by creating the e-com store first. We wanted to give people the widest selection of non-alcoholic products and be able to get those products to them very quickly. So we're working with a partner who's able to do that. We do not hold any inventory right now. We don't pay for that inventory until the bottle is sold, which goes back to my personal ethos and our company's ethos, which is we are very scrappy. We want to make sure that we stretch a dollar. And so that's the best possible outcome for us. We're leaning into technology and making sure that the customer experience is as solid as we can get it, knowing that our customers are going to have a lot of questions. We are about to unveil next week a very first of its kind AI tool in the industry that will not just ask you to answer a few questions and lead you to an algorithm that chooses a few preset products, but a true conversational AI tool where you can say, I've got a Thanksgiving dinner coming up for 20 of my closest friends. Some of them are pregnant, some of them are gluten-free. What products can you recommend? And our tool can handle that quite well. We have built the best rewards and loyalty program in the business. So we want to make sure that we can compete in an Amazon world of not just the cheapest and the fastest, which we are not, but we are the best and have the widest selection. And the more you stay in our ecosystem, the more it will benefit you. We're looking to build excellent communities. We're working with the Sober Curator. We're working with Sunnyside. We're working with a new dating platform, a new sober dating platform, I should say, called Club Pillar. And we have gotten very, very good at running ads and building community there. One of the things that's very important for this opportunity here is data. We're a little bit different than our alcohol cousins in the fact that we do not operate in the third-party system, the three-tiered system, I should say. In the three-tiered system on the alcohol side, you have a beer that will produce that beer, sell it to the distributor will sell it to the retailer sells it to the customer. In that system, the manufacturer really doesn't know who their customer is. We do. And we're able to ask our customers very pointed questions. We're able to capture them on the front end, get them into our system, and keep them there. We want it to be as normal and organic and helpful an experience as walking into a neighborhood store. Which leads me to the second leg of our expansion plan, which is we will have brick and mortar stores. We've identified 4 cities across the United States, New York City, San Diego, Denver, and Chicago for our first 4. Again, this is a specialty that I have, but more than that, we've brought on some very, very, very sophisticated and experienced retail experts in order to help us build that out. We will also use rent arbitrage in our stores, meaning that we will look to have subtenants that will make sense for our community. So imagine going into a bardleia store and not just having the opportunity to find these products that you're looking for, but find complementary products. So in New York City, we're talking to charcuterie companies, we're talking to possibly boutiques, possibly to florists. We've identified a list, we're having those conversations, and we're ready to activate on that. And then past that, we'll utilize a franchise system in order to accelerate our expansion plans while maintaining the things that we need to do on the corporate level. And again, we've brought the best of the best to the table in order to do that. So I promised Khalil that I would speak for about 15 to 20 minutes before we opened it up for questions. I know we have a lot of participants here. I know you'll probably have some questions, so I'll answer those, and then I've got a few closing remarks. But Khalil, I'm sure we have questions now, and if we don't, would suggest that if you're willing to ask a question and something's on your mind, that you would take that time to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And just want to set the stage here for the questions. If there are any questions around financials, around future looking statements or projections, unfortunately, we cannot answer those questions here on the webinar. It's just due to the SEC guidelines. If there are any questions around that, just make sure you're asking on the Republic page. It just has to be an open forum for everyone to get that information. Let's see, the first question I am seeing here is, why did you decide to go the equity crowdfunding route?
Yeah, that's a great question. The quick and easy question there is I had seen some other players in the space, Avec, Drink Monday, some other brands that had done that. My best friend lives out in Denver, and he had told me about an opportunity that he was able to do with something similar with a local bakery down the street that had an opportunity for their customers. I think what's most important to me, I'm as I'll say again, what Malcolm Gladwell refers to as a connector. And so, what's very important to me, not only in what it is that we're building for our customers, but also what we're building out as a good member of the space, is building that community. In my previous life, we built a community and didn't really have the opportunity to bring friends and family along on the ride. And so that was part of why I wanted to do it. And another part is just, I think that I just believe that this opportunity should not belong to me and me alone, but we should open this up to everyone who's interested in it. And instead of having some very large funds invest in what it is that we're doing, let's see if we can get 500 to 1,000 folks helping us get to our goal, and then they can be advocates, they can have skin in the game. One thing that I had saved in my closing remarks, but since you asked that question, is we've also done something that I think is unique, and we have as of last week started to invite our customers to be a part of this round. And so we're offering like a significant discount on all their purchases from now until the end of the year. should they decide to participate. So we're doing our best to build community, and I think having the opportunity to raise on Republic, which again, if there's anyone with Republic on the call, we thank you for letting us in, because as some of you Republic investors will know, it is not easy to be accepted, and so we're very fortunate that they believed in me and the team that we're building in order to let us in.
Thank you. Barry, earlier on, you talked a little bit about the expansion plan, but what about the current locations now? Where are those current locations?
We do not have any brick and mortar locations right now. We are strictly e-com. We have focused on making that e-com store as optimal as we possibly can before we, you know, it's not a distraction, but before we pivot to the next leg of our strategy. And so the first one will be in New York City. We're very lucky that we have contracted with someone whose day job involves doing the customer experience and the store aesthetic for a very, very, very high-end luxury retailer. And so she's putting together those plans now. We'll have those back in a matter of weeks. We've already chosen some sites, some potential sites, worked with our real estate team to do that, and feel confident that when we open, which will likely be end of September, early October, we'll be able to catch that wave of natural demand. I mentioned dry January earlier. Sober October is very much a thing. And so in reaching out to fellow retailers, past and present, what you see is basically week on week increase in sales from the beginning of October all the way into dry January and mid-January, because folks are looking for opportunities to like cut back on their drinking. And I think that's good news.
Yeah. And then kind of a follow-up question. It's what were those 10 locations you mentioned earlier then if you don't have a brick and mortar?
Yeah, that was with my previous company that I started. So those locations were located in New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Miami.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then can you just talk a little bit more about the brands that you currently are selling?
Yeah, happy to. So the way that we think about things, and it's quite a generational change. And forgive me if I repeat this stat if I said it earlier, but I know I talked about the polling that says that if you asked a group of people in America, have you had alcohol in the last 30 days, how they answer that and how that's a generational shift. When you get down to Gen Z, if you ask them, have you ever tried alcohol? 50% of them say no. And so think about how that has changed over the years. Think about when you on the call first had your first drink of alcohol. It was likely when you were the age that Gen Z is right now. So they're not leaning into alcohol as previous generations have. So the products that we have now cater to that entire generational spread. So what we see is like our older customers typically lean toward non-alcoholic wine, beer, or spirits. And these are, products that are on the wine and beer side made in a similar way as wine and beer that contains alcohol. And then you have spirits that are using different herbs and spices and ingredients to mimic the taste of different spirits. Gin, obviously, is very easy to replicate because it just uses a lot of botanics. But what we've also begun to lean into, and what our younger customers are demanding, excuse me, are, excuse me, just had a being a Floridian, I think I just had a Marco Rubio moment. But what our younger customers are demanding is drinks and beverages that do something for them. So we also carry on our site in our mind and body section adaptogens, functional beverages, nootropics, things that make you feel a certain way and do something better for your body. Alexa, my partner, is a fitness instructor. And so, under her leadership, we've started to lean into these, we shouldn't just think about these products being enjoyed in the afternoon or the evening, but what are these products that you can enjoy before a morning workout, or as you're getting ready for to go to the office. I think for us it's about not saying we want to replace alcohol permanently or replace something like caffeine or coffee permanently, but just being more mindful about those opportunities to put something a little bit better into your body when the moment calls for it.
And then how does Bardleia plan to scale its operations while maintaining consistent quality and customer experience across locations?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's why the first Bardaleia stores will be corporately owned. So we have brought in what I consider like the best franchise team in the business. Not to tip it off too much, but one of the largest, in fact, the largest franchisee in the world. Someone with that deep experience is on our team helping us to think about that. So we began planning for optimization of the e-com channel, but also at the same time started planning for what the retail store looks like, what are the best in class practices for optimizing the retail presence. And so what we are purposefully doing is rolling out the first 4 locations to be Bardaleia owned, to work out the kinks, to get the model absolutely right, to start putting together the franchisor opportunity and package, and then to start really leaning into what are the things that we know that we can do from a corporate level and need to do. And then what are the things that we think that the owner operator can best do. And so one of the lessons that I learned along the way in my past experiences is taking that pause, building from the foundation up before you open the first store. And so we think that we're very, very far along in doing that. And we know that'll be ready by the time we open the first store.
And then a question here, it's what about the indie bottle shops?
I'd love to have the opportunity to give that person an opportunity to rephrase that question. Do we have that opportunity? I want to make sure
Yeah, so
when
whoever asked the question,
when I hear indie bottle shop, if they could rephrase that question, and let's see if I can answer what they're thinking and the way that I'm thinking about it. So I think what we're seeing now in the space is a lot of what I would consider indie bottle shops or mom and pop bottle shops or community bottle shops popping up and having a bit of a moment. And I think that's great. We certainly did that in my previous life, opened our first store in Brooklyn, intended for it to be a community store, and then decided to start open more. The reason why we're starting to think about the franchise model is to captivate that sort of community feel. And hey, this is this is the bottle shop that I go to in my neighborhood or in my city. And I know that when I go in there, Khalil's going to greet me with open arms, and he's going to recognize me, and he's going to he's going to remember the products that I've had in the past. We want that feel. We know that the moment needs a level of sophistication in order to like really move the needle. And to, let's talk straightforward here. We're talking about like an investment opportunity. There's not a serious investor that I've got in front of yet who, when I describe moving to the franchise model, that they haven't been quite excited about that. And so how can you do that in a meaningful way in order to bring the level of sophistication and the expertise that I think the industry needs, but also to maintain that level of community feel. Again, I'm from Florida. we don't have as many Chick-fil-A's here in New York City as they do in my hometown. But I think they are a banner company for really perfecting that model. And you see, the owner operators really developing those relationships with their community, sending personal emails and personal app messages. That's the level of look and feel that we'll accomplish here at Bardleia.
And then what criteria does Bardleia use to select the non-alcoholic beverages for its product lineup?
Yep. So right now we're leaning into a very interesting strategy that came about from one of our board advisors. And so because we're utilizing a fulfillment partner right now and piggybacking on some of their options, we've been able to bring to market literally the widest selection of non-alcoholic products that you can find right now. And so our ads team and our marketing team wanted to have a moment, and we're slowly moving out of that moment, where we wanted to see what people would purchase if they had an option to purchase everything. There's a lot of retailers that will not carry O-duals. We wanted to start out and carry O-duals and see what would happen. There's a lot of retailers that won't carry athletic because they've gotten too large. They wouldn't carry Budweiser. We wanted to carry those things. They wouldn't carry a product like Free or Luminara, maybe. They wanted to, lean into some smaller companies to do that. So we wanted to see like what people would choose and then how we could move them to different products within those categories. And so what we've done at Bardleia in preparation of moving to the next stage, which involves our brick and mortar stores. We cannot possibly carry in our brick and mortar stores literally every product that we're carrying on the website right now. But by the way, we can continue to sell them on the website. But in the stores, we're looking for that wide selection again, but really the best and the best and the finest products that we can find. As I mentioned, the industry is craving education and discovery and sampling. It's the reason why Warby Parker opens brick and mortar stores, because they want their customers and their potential customers to be able to go in, to ask questions, to try on the frames. The industry has a phrase which is sips to lips, and we're going to provide that for them. And so we know that we carry a heavy burden, which is our customer base trusts us to bring in the products that are going to be great and are going to contain ingredients that they want to put in their body. And so we've democratized that process. We have a team who, anytime we want to bring in new products, and we are bringing in new products at a very aggressive clip, we get together and ask the brand to send out samples to 5 members of our team across the United States. We have a very sophisticated Google sheet that we're able to rank and talk about, like the benefits and the taste and the use cases. And then we make a decision as a team, does it meet our standards? Does it meet our margin standards? Can we see growing with this company? Another revenue, I think, opportunity and a profitability opportunity is because we'll sit on so much data of what our customers are drinking and enjoying, and the moments of the day and week that they're enjoying these products. We can begin to say, particularly as we grow, to brands that would like to be carried on our shelves, yes, we'd love to be in partnership with you, and we'd love to carry you on our shelves. And if we're going to give you an exposure of 10, 15, 20, 50 stores, we're going to need a piece of equity in order to do that. So we have skin in the game. So it starts to diversify different revenue streams for us and different equity opportunities.
I think we got one more question here. Are there opportunities for non-alcoholic beverage industry professionals like myself to get involved in the education initiatives Bardleia plans to implement?
Yes. Yes, there's many different ways. I'll mention that we have hello@bardleia.com that we basically use to triage any and all of that. I'd say reach out to me on LinkedIn. Again, we're looking to be good members of the community. We're looking to build a team that involves people who believe what we believe about the industry. And I'll say that, we have competition who does not believe what we believe, and that's fine. But we're looking for people who see that shift that's changing, see these products and know how they can be used, and really understand the moment that we have right now, because I think we do have a very unique window in order to like own this space in a meaningful way. And so, yes, by all means, we're looking to attract not only investors, not only team members, not only customers, but everyone in the community who sees the shift as we do.
And Barry, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in. If you want to go into the closing remarks, we can do that now.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I think we went a little bit over time, but listen, again, I want to say thank you. If you're like me, Tuesday is usually the day where I get more done than any other day in the week. So it means a lot that on Tuesday afternoon, all of you, and I can't quite see the number here, but that all of you joined us today. I want to point out that the campaign ends at the end of the month. And so we'd very much like for you to be on board. We set the minimum investment amount at 500 because we wanted to include the most amount of people. We engaged the marketing agency that Khalil works with in order to really be very strategic in getting in front of people. This is our first, but it will not be our last webinar. And so right now we're just trying to hustle, particularly in the next week. If you're familiar with Republic crowd raises, you know that as you can start to trend, which we are unveiling a lot of different content this week, and we hope that we will continue to trend. We'll have better and better access to not just more resources from the investment side, but more marketing resources on the Republic side. And hopefully you'll, do me a massive favor. And it's what I ask everyone is, if you're interested in investing, you're interested in coming in as an investor, thank you very much. We appreciate the trust, and do us a great favor of identifying 3 people, just 3, that you think might also be interested, and send them to our page, connect them with me, connect them with Khalil. And speaking of Khalil, he just put the site on there, but it's republic.com/bardleia, BARDELIA. So we're really looking to have like a really big kickstart this week. We've got some exciting things planned in the future. I'll remind you that, if you're a customer of ours, it's a great opportunity to make an investment. As soon as you make that investment, ping us and let us know that you have, and we'll send you a very special code to get a pretty incredible percentage off all your purchases until the end of the year. I mentioned hello@bardleia.com. If you do have some deeper questions that you'd like to jump on a private call with me and go over, you can reach me at investors@bardleia.com. And I'm happy to get on there. I think we'll share my Calendly link, and happy to make some time with you to make sure that you have a level of comfort about this opportunity. And we believe strongly that this is not just that you're cutting us a check or you're transferring funds to us, but that we're transferring to you an ownership opportunity in what I think is going to be a very exciting opportunity. So with that, I'll say thank you again. I think that makes 6 or 7 times I've said thank you, but truly honored that you spent the time with us today.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, hope everyone has a good rest of their day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Coach. Bye.